Ajit, how are you, man? Ajit, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. I'm absolutely fantastic. How are you
Good,
doing?
man. The first time we spoke was during another crazy period that was very dramatic for a lot of us, was during the FTX collapse. Most people don't know that Ajit was one of our most regular guests, along with Simon, funny enough, in the FTX collapse days and spent hours with us on those spaces before Scott contributed anything to our spaces. Just want to make that clear. And
The
they're the
dark
OGs, they're the
ages.
real
That was
OGs
the
on
dark
stage.
ages.
And so it's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasant surprise to have you guys. And you're so how involved are you with Data3 Network, Data3 AI?
I am actually an advisor and investor in Data3, and Siddharth, who's also a speaker, is actually the founder. So I'm here just as his cheerleader more than anything else.
Well, you've got Siddharth, you've got a really good cheerleader. She is one of my favorite guys for over a year now. But Siddharth is not. I don't know if he's on stage. Are you on stage, Siddharth? It's glitching for me. He's not.
Yes, I am.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. So I'm just trying to understand. Like this is gonna be an interesting discussion because I really understand when you say federated AI and RAG, what is that exactly? Please explain, because I think this is something that probably I should probably start focusing a lot more on understanding.
Sure. Federated learning is a new paradigm in AI in terms of how you train your models. The classical way of training models is getting data from different sources, putting them into a data center, and then training your models, right?
Hmm.
Federated learning is the opposite mechanism in which you take the model and push it to where the data is. And the reason why it's done is for data privacy. And the advantage is that you don't need to move or copy the data. You're actually moving the model to the edge, you're computing on the data, and then what you're sending back is essentially the model updates, which is essentially the weights and bias or whatever the model has learned from that local data set. And this you can do across multiple such data sets and then collaborate all of the models together. So the outcome is the same, but the advantage here is that it's more data privacy centric and it does not need you to copy the data at all. Does that
So
answer your question?
it does. It does. So while you're answering, I had my phone cut out for a few about 10 seconds. And the hotel phone was ringing. So there's two things happening at the same time. So it's actually the main benefit, but I heard about 50% of it. So 70%. The main part of it is the aspect. But from a technical perspective, if you can oversimplify it again, sorry for kind of sticking on this, I'm happy to add another couple of minutes, but I really want to understand it. So how does it achieve the privacy aspect from a technical perspective?
So the privacy is achieved because the data does not need to leave the premise of the owner. So
Okay.
you're not copying the data. The model does not even know what the data is. The model is just sitting there and gets trained on the data in a safe environment, in a local environment that is completely under the control of the data owner. So the data does not
Oh,
leave the premise at all.
interesting. So essentially, you've got all that data out there. The way AI works right now, that's actually really fascinating. The way AI works right now is all that data just gets kind of scraped out of all these different sources and trained internally, being able to read the data, all these learning algorithms. That's how it works right now. And what you're saying is that you're going to have those little hubs, those private hubs, where the learning will take place. Like the AI algorithm will not be able to read the data, but will be able to train using that data in those private hubs. Is that, am I oversimplifying it correctly?
Yes, you're absolutely right, and
That's cool. That's
that's
really
what the platform is.
That's
Yeah,
fascinating. Like, so this is important because like one of the main problems right now when it comes to AI is this obviously the whole IP debate. You've just got all these different LLMs scraping the data and leveraging data without compensating for the data. And we're having all these legal cases against OpenAI for that reason. Does that solve for that? So essentially, you allowed when you say federated, I'm assuming you create those little hubs. So does that mean those hubs could be, whenever they're being used, they could be owned by, let's say, New York Times, and then New York Times could charge OpenAI, whatever AI algorithm, for using that data, for training using that data?
absolutely. And the problem goes beyond just that. The problem goes beyond just data privacy laws or IP conflicts. The real problem with the current way of accessing public fine web is the fact that we've reached the limit of what can be scraped off the internet. So in all probability, we are not going to see any quantum leaps when it comes to new LLMs. There's no new knowledge that can be gained out of public domain
How do you
because
fix
all
that?
of that.
But how do you fix that? Because you don't create more data. You essentially train the data in different ways. Like, is it beyond privacy? What are the other advantages of having those little training hubs?
The other advantages is, as you obviously mentioned, is the monetization, right?
Yeah.
So now you have the ability to monetize data, and you can collaborate on domain specific
Ah,
models. So
you incentivize those creators to actually train the algorithm now. Now they've got an incentive to participate in the training process to create more data for the algorithm. Correct?
exactly,
I
and you
like
could
this.
exactly, and you could do.
Am I cutting out or is he cutting out? Can
Can
you
you hear
hear me?
me?
If he's yeah, you were cutting. Okay, good. You were cutting out. Um, okay, so are you all responding? And then I want to dig into what you do now. I'm a bit more excited.
Sorry, could you repeat
Can
that?
I was saying I was a bit more excited. So I'll let you finish what you're saying, so I can ask more questions now and understand how the token fits into all this as well. But let's go one by one.
Oh,
So
sure.
essentially, what I've said is correct. So essentially, aligns the incentive model. So you've got the creators now that are incentivized to train the LLM. It was through monetization and through privacy. Yeah, that's it. So aligns incentives through monetization and privacy.
Yes, and it helps to create better models, following all the data privacy laws. So you do not, you're completely covered from legalities. You know that you're working ethically and you're getting data from the right sources, and that too, highly qualified data. And that's something that our platform also guarantees through blockchain proofs that the data is what it actually says that it is, because there is proof that needs to be generated for private data. So that's something that the platform guarantees. So you're
Okay.
able to monetize, you're able to create models, and you're able to build very specific data sets as well to monetize it.
So that's what federated RAG means, correct?
Federated learning, RAG means retrieval augmented generation. And that's something they can use as an individual or as an entity or a corporate. It's another mechanism of how do you use private data. So an example of that could be that today, if you interact with ChatGPT, right, you go to the prompt and you type in your query. It goes to ChatGPT directly and gives right. Now the answer that it's
Mm.
giving is from the knowledge that it has. But what about your private data? What if you wanted to ask something about your private data? How do you create a system around it? So that's what RAG does. RAG, the query first goes to your local database. So you intercept the query, you put it into your local database, and you search for all answers and information that you have that relate to the query. And then you take all of that information and then you send it to the LLM, and you tell it to give an answer based on that information and not of the information that it has. So it gives you the answer based on only your private data.
Oh, so essentially, you're personalizing it a bit more, correct?
Yes.
That's so fascinating. All right. So then you guys are a crypto project. So where is the crypto element in this? How does the token fit into all this?
So when you create a RAG model or when you create a federated learning model, or whether you create a data set, which is collection of your private data to participate in federated learning processes, you're using resources of the network. And these resources are hardware, GPU, storage, network flow. All of that is deployed on decentralized networks. So we have the best of the decentralized networks participating in our project, and they provide all the hardware for it. So when you're using the resources, you pay in our tokens. So that's point number one. Point number two is that you can create your own models And if you think that your model is now something that you can trade for value or service for others, then you can deploy them on the platform with one click. So you can monetize from the models that you've created. So that is also something that payment happens through our tokens. And the third part is that we provide proofs of whatever execution is happening on the platform in terms of data guarantees, execution guarantees, and all of that is on chain. So that's where our token is used as well.
Okay, so it's three areas where the tokens use. It's actually, but the way it's how seamless is it? So a lot of people just want to be able to press a button and that's it. So a lot of these training algorithms, so whether it's the RAG aspect of it, or so kind of the direct consumer aspect, or the B2B aspect, the um, it's called federated AI. Um, when you say, when you say his tokens is using those three ways, um, how would it be from an UI perspective for the user? How would it look like?
So two aspects here. One is how easy is it to build AI models on our platform? And the answer is that it's almost zero code. So our RAG models, you don't even need to know programming. You can just go create your own personal AI agents on your private data um, by just clicking a few buttons, and that's it. Um, as far as payments is concerned, we have made it extremely easy for both crypto and non-crypto users as well. And we believe that's the way to go forward to be able to onboard non-crypto people into the crypto network as well. So we accept both fiat as well as crypto payments, but all of them get converted to tokens and gets paid out to the node network and everybody who's working for the network.
I'm just looking at your website, by the way. Your white paper has been reviewed by Cornell University, University of Michigan, Carnegie Mellon, and Indiana Institute of Science, as well as the Advanced Technology for Humanity. You don't see those on any white paper. Like, can you tell me a bit more on who's backing you? Who are your investors, and what? How do you get? These are all official, I guess. So we can call someone at Carnegie Mellon or Cornell and confirm this. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can go to our
But
YouTube channels and
who? But
you
sorry,
can
sorry, sorry. But who? Like, is it someone that used to like? Is it an ex professor from there and you put the logo, or is it actually Cornell University? Someone within Cornell University and they officially recognize it.
somebody within their professors there. So you can call them up and you can send them an email and check. But you could also go to a YouTube channel and you could look at our discussions and interactions with the professors from all of these universities. That's an easier
Interesting.
verification.
Okay, I'm not doubting you. I'm just kind of seeing what level they've been involved, and because you have Ajit, so kind of no doubt there. But the other question is, who are your investors, the backers, and then like what's the plan for launching the token? What exchanges? What launch plans? What's the date?
So we were planning to launch it at the end of this year, but we're waiting to see the better market conditions. So most likely first quarter of the next year. We are backed
Mhm.
by great investors like AlphaWave Global, Arcanum Capital. Um, Sandeep is also our angel investor, so he's also there. Um, so it's a big thanks to our investors and our community. We have like 65,000 strong community, 65K thousand strong community. So it's a big thanks to the investors and the community that help us contribute in code, in in finances. That's allowed us to do research. So this work has come out after 2 years of research on the white paper and on the technology. So a big thanks to them.
Okay, and do you have any exchanges or launch plans that you've already confirmed, or not yet?
Not yet. So we are talking to a lot of them. I'll not make any official announcements, but some big ones, and I mean the top tier ones.
Oh, nice. And then you'll be able to confirm those later on. Um,
Absolutely.
that's pretty. That's pretty fascinating, man. And Ajit, when did you get involved? Why did you get involved?
So, for many of your listeners who do not know, I'm 54 years old. In an earlier life, I used to be a faculty member at the University of Texas at Austin. And one of my challenges in Web3 has been that a lot of projects out there are frivolous, as in they are like really more hype than substance. When I came across Condola, where the founders and their team was full of mathematicians, scientists, university professors, engineers. It was crazy. In fact, the question you asked, that can we verify what you're doing? I actually verified a lot. For instance, because I have an undergrad degree in computer engineering, I'm familiar with a very popular international society called the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, or IEEE. So I have seen Condola papers being published in various international conferences, including the IEEE conference. And I was like, this team is solid, as in we can't doubt that. What they're trying to do is quite paradigm shifting, which means there's always a probability attached to whether they will succeed. I kept engaging with them now for, I think, about a year and a half. Siddharth, who lives in India, I live in Dubai. Siddharth has come over to my place in Dubai and stayed with me for 20 days, where we, thrash this out every single day. We will be talking late into the night and stuff. And I was a convert. I started out as an advisor. I also became an investor. This is a disclaimer for everybody who's listening.
Oh, nice. And you helped them getting them those university professors to review the white paper. Was that your
No,
idea?
actually, it's the other way around. They already had the university professors on their side. It was not my connection. It was something that I
Where's
verified,
the
but they already were a good team.
what stage is the product at now?
We are
Siddharth
doing
is best to answer that.
Yep, we're doing the beta launch in 2 days. So you should be able to go on to
Oh,
data3
nice.
network, and you should be able to create your own personal AI
Yeah,
agent
because
and RAG
that
model.
Data3 Network still doesn't work. So I'm guessing the website will start working in 2 days.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. For now, the website's Candola.network. No, it's pretty fascinating. And Ajit, I think you've been, first, thank you for having us on your cap table. And I've learned something new, something pretty fascinating. The token, I'll ask one more question again. Just can you explain the 3 points very briefly for the audience on the utility of the token within Candola or within Data3? Just very briefly, kind of wrap it up.
So the first is that you get to let's talk about the utility, which is you will need CAN tokens to create your RAG models because you're going to
The
pay for
RAG
the
models.
hardware.
So this is essentially when you leverage the AI, kind of personalized AI. Is can I call it that?
Yes.
Personalized, customized AI. So to be able to use a personalized AI, you'll need the tokens for that with a very clean UI. All right, number one. That's number one. Number two.
The same goes for when you're deploying federated learning models and when
So
you're creating your.
that's for the creators. So just to kind of clarify, that's for the creators. So when the creators are leveraging the federated learning model, so where AI, the LLM could use their data to obviously learn. When the LLM is learning, they'll need the creator will need to use the token, or the AI the A creator will need to use the token. But how? Because they can you explain how? Because the creator is meant to be compensated for this because they're offering their data to Data3. So if they're using a token as a cost to be able to leverage the federated learning, where's the ROI for them? Do they receive tokens in return for offering their data?
Yes. So
Okay.
to host the data, they need a very small amount of CAN tokens, but they get compensated for the data that they're sharing, and the creators get
In
paid
the
for
form
that
of a
also.
token, in the form of a
In the
token.
form.
So that's the selling pressure on the token will come in from the reward token coming in from the creators getting the token, and the buy pressure will come in from the RAG model, and of course new creators wanting to set up. But I think the RAG model will need to compensate for the federated learning model um, getting the tokens as part of their compensation. Is there a burning mechanism involved as well?
Yes, there is a burn mechanism involved.
Okay, and the third utility of the token.
The third utility of the token is the data DAOs. So if you can create a group of people can come together and create, let's say, a very domain specific, highly valued data set, then you can collectively decide on what the price of that data set could be. And you will need to have CAN tokens to vote on that. For example, if we are working with a few universities in the US who want to create a healthcare model for detecting lung cancer and colon cancer, and they have a model right now that works, but it does not work well for Southeast Asia. And
So it's
essentially, it's
like
because.
yeah, it's like a federated model but with multiple parties involved through a DAO structure, correct?
Correct.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm getting them. Ah, I see. Interesting. Okay, but if I get something wrong, just tell me, Siddharth. Like you said, no, Mar, you got it wrong. It's actually X, Y, Z. But so when you say correct, I'm taking you seriously that I got it right. So I understand everything pretty well, yeah?
Absolutely. You have been spot on.
I enjoy these discussions. I like them because I learn new shit. But really cool. Again, really glad to be on the cap table. I know we went over 15 minutes because I obviously wanted to really dig into it so I understand all these different terms in this industry as blowing up. So love what you guys are doing. Love that you got Ajit and other professors on board. Keen to know what exchanges you end up launching on. I'm pretty confident with your community and where you guys are at and that the beta's out in 2 days. Do you have a big waiting list? It's a beta. It doesn't need a waiting list. But do you guys have a lot of people waiting to start using Data 3?
Oh yeah. So first week in our alpha release, the first week we had planned for a total of 6,300 gigabytes of storage. That's what we thought the network could provide for free. The first week itself, we ran into 1,600 gigabytes of storage for
Oh,
request,
nice.
and till now we have
Oh, wow.
43,000 gigabytes of requests in the pipeline. So it's huge in terms of the market opportunity. Just think about it. If you could create your own personalized AI agent at a very minimal cost, why wouldn't you?
Nice. Really enjoy. I really appreciate the discussion. I appreciate you both making the time. For anyone else to check out Data3 Condola Network, the handles in the title, and you can also click on their profile on stage. And more importantly, now you know what Condola is. Now you know how it works. So keep that in mind as you start seeing them pop up on your Twitter feed. And you see token launch incoming in a few months' time. But we're on the cap table. I'm pretty happy, especially after this discussion. If there's anything more I could do, Siddharth or Ajit, do let me know. Just hit me up. Ajit, you've got my personal number. Just message me, and I'm more than happy to help and be more involved because I'm pretty excited about what you guys are building. But otherwise, it's been a really good discussion from a selfish perspective because I've learned a lot. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you
guys.
so
Well,
much.
for anyone else,
Appreciate that.
thank you so much, guys. Thank you.